Yeah, also wanted to comment on the social justice element and everything that has been said. I think if we really have to do a thorough investigation as to the first form of unschooling, it actually started with those without money, started with those without clothes, or our perception of the idea of clothes, started with those that lived in streets without names, in suburbs without names. It started in indigenous communities, and I would like to speak on the social justice, but more as self-directed or unschooling as an act of regaining our human essence. And for that, the human aspect comes first before the classism, because the classism is a byproduct of inhumane nature, and the language of English allows us to even embody and assimilate this idea of being inhumane. That's also the danger of some languages, that once these words exist, there's a sort of subscription to them. But yeah, that's not the point. The idea is that with unschooling and indigenous ideas, I think taken we in the continent of Africa, unschooling rooted here, because before schools we were teaching each other in what communities, and what were these communities? People coming together to prolong life. An act of being human. We all don't want to die, but so, and I also want to speak on unschooling taking part in our day-to-day lives. All of us here, even those that have been in school for 12 years, how many years have you been alive out of school? What about all those lessons? What about all the premises or things that we can remember that was said to us as children, that we remember due to the fact that it was said out of the premise of love, that we never needed no highlighter to remember, no, what you repeat stuff? What's that thing called? Like reciting? Yeah, repetition or reciting. Yet these things stick with us in our hearts, and we can never forget them. And because they say to the premise of love, sometimes the lesson automatically crosses generational aspects, to say it's not even spoken about that day anymore, but the act and the culture that we've been created from what has been said automatically sticks with us for life. So all of us, as the act of being human, we have been unschooled. You can't split it, you can't put it in classism, you can't say it's for the rich, you can't say it's for the poor. We can only say it's for the human. And I think it's that moment that we have to define whether we're acting as humans or acting inhumanely. And there we'll ask ourselves whether we're dealing with anything, because it's on that premise that education, the byproduct of humans working together for each other's progression, for each other's prosperity, for each other's love, humans living together out of the premise of love, the byproduct of that is education. And that, I think, is exactly what unschooling is. Communities working each other for each other's progression. And not surviving, thriving. That's the difference. We're not doing this thing on the premise of trying to survive. We're not doing this. We know what it is. We're here because of survival. You know what I mean? We've been acting on flight or flight our whole lives. We live in fear. We lock our gates. We don't know our neighbors. You know what I mean? We know the neighbors' dogs because of the barking, but we don't know the neighbors. What's up? You know what I mean? We're disconnected from our food. We're disconnected from the soil. We're disconnected from the sky. We have to look to books instead of looking to the sky. We look to books to learn about the sky. What the hell? You know what I mean? There's a problem in this, and this is based on this idea of humanism. We've lost the ability to become humans. We are programmed like machines out of books. Let's talk to each other. What about that? You know what I mean? And I feel that conversation, dialogue, speaking, everything that happens outside of school and the byproduct of being alive, that is where unschooling lies, and that is where self-directed education lies, and that is where love lies. Thank you.